This video lecture is on the great composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Mozart was born in 1756 and died in 1791, which, as you know now, puts him squarely in the classical period of music. He was a quintessential classical era composer. You can tell by those dates that he did not live a very long time. He did die at the age of 35, which was in some ways unfortunate for the world, that think of all the wonderful music he could have written if he had lived longer. But fortunately for us, he started composing at a very young age, so there were actually lots of compositions out there by Mozart. In fact, one of the things that he's known for is for being a child prodigy, which means somebody who is a child who is so good at something that the child is even better than most adults are. And Mozart was known as being a child prodigy in music. He was composing music at the age of 4. He was performing on the piano and the violin at a very young age. So he was a remarkable child, and as such, he did write a lot of music even though he didn't live a very long time. He was taught by his father, Leopold Mozart, who played a very influential role in his life. And Mozart spent a lot of his life traveling around with his father, performing, composing, performing the pieces that he composed. Mozart was known as being a very gregarious, social person. He was also known as sort of just spending all his money and being a little bit reckless. He had some great success musically during his life, but when he died at age 35, he was actually poor and was buried in like a poor man's grave because he had spent all the money that he had earned. So, like I said, Mozart did compose a lot of music despite his short life. And if you see a composition by Mozart, it's going to be designated with a K, the letter K, which stands for Kerschel number, which is similar to the BWV that we learned about with Bach and the opus number that we learned about with Haydn, only K is for Mozart. K is just for Mozart. Mozart's the only one that uses K, and K is like opus, and then it's a chronological number. So if you see a low number for Mozart, K2 or K3, those would be like the second and third compositions that Mozart wrote, and then if you get up into 500 or 600, those would be the later compositions that Mozart wrote. So you will see a K, a Kerschel number, associated with Mozart's music. So, like I said, Mozart died at the age of 35, and there are some rumors as to why and how he died. Some say that perhaps he was murdered by a fellow composer. That seems to be a rumor. It doesn't seem like he was murdered. He probably got some kind of illness that he just wasn't able to recover from. Remember, we're talking about the 18th century, so they didn't have the modern treatments that we have. So he probably just fell ill and wasn't able to recover for it. One interesting thing about his death is that while he was ill in his fatal illness, he was actually writing a piece of music about death. Not his own death, he was writing a piece about somebody else's death, somebody else who had died. But he was writing about death when he was dying, and we're going to talk a little bit later in this unit about those circumstances surrounding his death. So I hope you enjoy the music of Mozart.